If we're meeting for the first time, my name's Ken Edmonds, and on this channel I share information for individuals that are undertrained or untrained managers, or individuals that want to learn the skills they need to succeed in management. In today's video, we're going to talk about leadership. Of all the qualities that help a manager or a supervisor succeed, leadership is probably the number one category. So we're going to talk about that today. But to start the discussion, let's talk about what is leadership. And I found a definition I like. It said, leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others toward some goal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to unpack that definition and look at various aspects of it. It starts out by saying that leadership is a process of social influence. It doesn't mention titles. It doesn't mention being a manager. It just talks about a process of social influence. So in reality, a leader can be anyone that influences others. You know, you hear the term bandied around quite a bit about influencers, talking about people in social media. They're an influencer. And they have people that follow them. They don't have a title or a job necessarily, or a position. They just can influence others. But we're going to look at this more in the sense of being in a workplace. The next part of that definition talks about the fact that they maximize the efforts of others. And so because they have influence, they can motivate people to do things and perhaps achieve more than they would on their own. The third piece of it is that they influence these others towards some goal. So if we think about it, nobody wants to follow a leader that's just out wandering around in a field somewhere. There's no purpose in that. So a leader has to be headed toward a destination or toward a goal. So the question is, how do you become a leader? And it's interesting. Some people think, well, they made me the boss, I'm the leader. It doesn't work that way at all. Leadership is really best thought of as a personality trait. And some people seem to be born leaders. They just seem to have that knack for leading others. But does that mean if we don't have that knack that we'll never be a leader? No, not at all. Because I do firmly believe that leadership is a character trait that we can learn and that we can develop in ourselves to make ourselves be leaders. So where do we really start with becoming leaders? My belief is that it starts with being interested in others. There's an old adage that says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so when you think about your team and the people that you're responsible for, do they know how much you care? If they don't, what do we do about that? You want to add just a little bit to that. We need to care about our people, but also we need to care about our project or our destination, our goal where we're taking people. Because if we're not interested, they're not going to be interested either. So it starts by letting people know how much we care. We can say the starting place is being sincerely interested in others. And in particular, those on our team. When they sense that we're interested in them and that we care about their success and their achievements, then they're going to start to reciprocate by showing respect for us and starting to think of us as a leader. What are some of the things that we can do to show that we really care about them? A key factor is learning to listen to people. When we listen to the people on our team, and I'm not talking about the kind of listening where we sit there and say, yeah, okay, while we're thinking about something somewhere else. No, I'm talking about the kind of interest in what they're saying and the kind of listening in what they have to say, where we ask questions, that maybe we repeat back to them what they said just to make sure that we've got it clear in our minds. When we start to do that, again, it starts to build that relationship. It starts to build that trust that good leaders have between themselves and their team. And we want to be interested in people not just in the work environment or not just as far as getting them to do what we want them to do, But we should be interested in our people, in our team, to the point that we want to know what their goals are, what their aspirations are. Because if we can do that, then we can start to find ways to help them. And the term that we see used a lot anymore is servant leadership. And I think that is a characteristic of truly great leaders, is that they're interested in serving others. And so when you're interested in serving the people in your team, again, they sense that, and they will start to reciprocate by caring about you and what you need them to do. We'll talk about some more of the things that make a person successful as a leader. And I worked for a manager when I was still in the working world, and he had a phrase that resonated with me. He said, "People see." And his point is that people see how you act, how you behave, what you do, the effort you put into things. And that is especially true of your team. They're going to watch you. If you're starting to make progress as becoming a leader, they're going to be watching you to see how you respond and what you do. So what we want to do then is we want to be enthusiastic. We want to come into work every day. It's not always easy, but we want to come into work every day enthusiastic and positive. We want to phrase things in positive ways. It's kind of interesting. There's a term, self-fulfilling prophecy. And so if you tell your team that they're lazy and worthless and stupid, you're probably right. But if you talk to your team and tell them that they are highly motivated, successful, and they're going to be able to accomplish what needs to be done, you're probably right. Because they see our attitude, and they reflect that back, and it has a huge impact on our success as a leader. Another important factor in helping you be a leader is learning to take the blame on yourself. If something goes wrong, don't throw your team under the bus. No, take the blame. And if something goes right, give your team the credit. Oh, it wasn't me, it was my team. And when you do that, again, you start to build respect. And they start to, you can think of the term know, like, and trust you. Because you just made them feel good and you've made them feel safe. And those are important factors in creating a workplace where they see you as a leader and they want to follow you and they want to help you get where you need to go. I would encourage you to lead your team by asking rather than telling. There's a chart that shows the comparison between a boss and a leader. And it says the boss tells them, a leader asks them. And so learn to be gracious in how you talk to your team. You know, and could you help me with this? Could you do this for me? Would you please? Those kinds of words are words that will engender both respect and an enthusiasm to help you go in the direction you want to go. Another important factor is to help your team become leaders themselves. I firmly believe that it is the responsibility of every leader to help the people on his team become leaders in their own right. And in fact, one of the articles I read said that a good leader breeds other leaders. And so you want to empower your team. We can think of the old adage that says, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for one day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for his life. So the question that I would encourage you to think about is, do you teach your team to fish? Do you teach them how to think about what they're doing as if it was their own business? That's one of the things I really encourage the managers that I teach in my training classes, is teach your employees to view their area of responsibility as their own little personal business. And then you educate them on how to make wise decisions, and then empower them to make decisions. Will they always make good decisions? No. They'll make mistakes. But you probably made your mistakes along the way, and you're probably still making some mistakes today. So empower them when something goes wrong, help them to see how they could have done it better. I'll give you another I believe statement. I believe that learning to be a leader is an unending process. For all of us that want to be leaders, there are ways that we can continue to improve. The first way that I would recommend is be willing to ask others. Now, when you ask others, you may get answers that you're not so fond of. And that's okay. But be willing to think about what they tell you and see if there's something in that suggestion that you can apply. We can ask our boss. We could ask our peers. And we can ask our team. And if our team knows, likes, and trusts us, if they respect us as a leader, the odds are really good that they're going to share ways that we could get even better. So we want to listen and we want to apply it. Another thing that we can do, and it's something that I encourage all of my students to do, it's something that I encourage anyone that wants to be a leader to do, is to study leadership and to think about it, read about it. I'll give you one book suggestion that I found very helpful when I was preparing for my course and things that I've used in my life after reading it, and it's Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. There's a link to it on Amazon down below. I think you'll find it very helpful. If you find videos like this helpful and you enjoyed this one, do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button. That way you'll get notified when I bring out a new video. And there'll be a new video every week. We'll see you next time.